So the next servant in my coverage of these low star legends, we now have casters. And what better caster for me to do than Medea? Well, that's actually not true. There's a ton of really good casters that are all low rarity. In fact, it was really hard for me to make a decision of doing Medea first or someone like Hans first because they're both so iconic as low star legends specifically for casters, but Waifu ended up winning the day on this one, although you could argue that Hans does have the DOVA, and that kind of does give him a leg up in that comparison. But I was like, man, I want to talk about Medea. Everybody should level up a Medea. She's like super useful and has been really strong for a lot of different challenge quests because while her kit is very straightforward and she seemingly doesn't do a whole lot, the little things that she does do is just good enough to carry her to the finish line. And I mean, this is even despite the fact that she's got like pretty much not a lot going on with her kit and her damage is seemingly not very good. Although, again, you can kind of gas it up and make her numbers look really pretty. You'll see some gameplay in the background, like there's one turn where she does like almost like 300k and it's like, oh my goodness, we stacked a bajillion buffs. So, you know, if you want to make your Medea look a little more pretty than she already is, just gas her up with like double Castoria or something. Or Tamamo. Tamamo also does a really good job of making her look really good. But yeah, we're going to talk about her in today's video. And before we begin, if you have not already, make sure to leave a like on the video and you subscribe to the channel for that sweet daily FGO content. I almost didn't upload today because, well, I usually try to schedule my videos the night before, but I was just feeling super bad all day. But I don't know, all of a sudden I just felt whatever nausea or sickness I was dealing with disappear, so we're all good to make this video. So through even stuff like that, I'll get the daily content done. Although I will say that while I do stream every weekday over on my Twitch starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, kind of been lacking this week. I've had a lot going on with like a planned vacation, trying to make that go on. Wednesday was a little bit weird because we streamed in the morning instead of night because of the new live stream. And then again, yesterday, Thursday, I was literally just dying. And I was like, dude, I'm not streaming while I'm dying. Well, like, oh, I can barely talk. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. But again, apparently some bread and water just does wonders for my body, apparently. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and start this video starting off with Medea's hits. And really, the only thing that is important for Medea's hits is that she has a triple arch deck, so even without her NP, she has the ability to do arch chains because you're really going to want to do that because spamming the NP for Medea is the entire name of the game. Sure, she does have an insane 1.64 NP gain stat, but realistically, with one-hit arts cards and a one-hit NP, you're really never going to get to make use of something like that. Again, if they ever come back and they just give Medea like 2 or 3 hits on all of her cards, she's going to be broken, right? She's going to be able to like spam her NP even more than she's already able to do. Now, granted, even though that her hits are really bad, the fact that her NP gain is so ungodly high, that does actually allow her to just have like decent generation on just, you know, normally firing off her arts cards, especially when you consider the fact that if you're pairing with people like, say, Castoria or Tamamo, they're going to be buffing up her arts cards, which further boosts her NP gain even more. And then in the Castoria case, they also just naturally gas up her NP gain with the NP gain buff. So basically, just start spamming those arts cards so you could fire your NP as much as possible. I mean, she even has like a 10% arts buff, right? Everything that this girl is doing is spamming her NP. And what a better way to show that off than her first skill. It is what she is notorious for. It is a 150% battery. So usually some servers that have a 50% battery, it's like, oh, cool. I can use them with like a 50% starting charge CE, and I can immediately get to 100% NP. Well, Medea can do that, but it brings her all the way up to NP2. It's also really budget friendly, because if you only just bring this up to skill level 4, it's 100% battery. So if you're someone that's like low on materials or you're low on QP, something along those lines, just bring this up to the skill level 4 and it's a 100% battery. Now you should still probably go to like skill level 6 or something, maybe even bring it to 10 for the skill cooldown, but if you don't got the resources or you're trying to conserve that for other servants that need it a bit more, it's a really nice thing that Medea is able to do. However, this is kind of like the best thing she does. I'll just cover the second and third skill together because the second skill is really not even a skill. It just gives you a 2500 heal on a 4-turn cooldown. It's nice, especially if you're using it in like, say, a Tamamo setup where you're actually going to be able to spam your skills a lot more. It does mean that every couple of turns with someone like Tamamo around, she can just keep healing herself, which is the one thing that Castoria doesn't do for her. And it's kind of like why Castoria Tamamo for like Medea specifically is really good. You get a lot of survivability from Castoria, and then you get the extra like skill cooldown, healing, and extra battery on Tamamo's NP for Medea. Stuff like that is really good. But again, this just needs to get like some kind of buff. Preferably like it also gives her like 30% NP damage for one turn, just something like that. You can't really give it like a 3-turn offensive buff because with how low the cooldown is already on this skill, it'd be really hard to be like, oh yeah, she has like 30% NP damage for 3 turns and on a 4-turn cooldown, which would be insanely nutty and help out her damage and everything, but they don't typically do stuff like that. Her third skill is not bad. I just think the 150% battery go figure is a little more useful, but this is kind of nice. It's a debuff cleanse that is targetable that also gives them 50% NP gain for 1 turn on a 6-turn cooldown. So let's say that you're in some kind of boss fight and you really need Castoria's NP to save the entire team, or you need to get Tamamo's NP rolling, but oh no, one of them got stunned or charmed, or they got put to sleep, something along those lines. Medea's got you covered. It's also really nice that if Medea gets smacked with like NP damage down or attack down, stuff like that, taking her NP damage and making it even lower than it already is, she can do this, bam, clear it off of her and still get off a nice clean hit, and also buff her NP gain for that turn. So it is just kind of a nice skill, but overall, not a whole lot is going on there on the skills. And even the NP over here, they buffed it, sure, but you might notice one thing kind of wrong with her NP. She's like a single target that doesn't actually have single target damage scaling. And what do I mean by that? Well, you'll see at like NP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It scales from like 600 to 900%. And the problem is that 900%, which is what you should have as, you know, a free NP5 servant, isn't even what she's supposed to have. Normal like art servants that are single target, they start off at 900% damage scaling. So basically, an NP5 Medea has the same NP damage scaling as another single target art servant that gets that at NP1, and that's because Medea is just really, really old. It was a lot worse back in the day, but they at least kind of updated it a little bit. I don't know why they actually didn't just go all the way and actually fix her scaling when they upgraded the NP. I guess I just think that Medea would be way too broken if she was able to do stuff like that, but really all it would do is give her like actual normal damage, because the damage chart should have flashed around somewhere. She's quite low, like actually notoriously low as a single target unit. Like the level of damage she does is like insanely low, like even for if she was like an AoE or something, but she's supposed to be like a single target boss killer. Thankfully, the effects on her NP are really good. Not only does she yeet all of the enemy's buffs after doing damage, unfortunately it's not like an Amakusa effect. I think that'd be even more broken. The effect here is still very, very good though, that she can just cleanse all buffs off of an enemy whenever she fires this NP, which is going to be doing all over the place anyway. But then she also, on her overcharge, is getting 20 to 100% of her NP back. And keep in mind, if you're starting her off with like a 50% charge, and then you've got that 150% battery, you can guarantee that you're going to get that overcharge too at the very least. It's kind of why Medea is just really, really insane, because sure, does her natural NP gain with like the one-hit arts card kind of suck sometimes? Yeah, well, she's just going to keep feeding herself so much raw NP that that's not going to be a problem, and like it's going to be fine. Even though there's like really bad hits, the fact that she's just like pumping so much NP back into herself, it just makes it to where she's able to spam her NP all over the place. It makes her really good for any like assassin bosses that you're going to be going up against. She can handle berserker bosses as well. Just make sure you don't let her explode, because again, she is a 3-star servant, so her HP is a little bit lower than, you know, what you might be used to, but she is definitely very, very strong. This is one of those servants that I really think does deserve the title of like a low-star legend, and I know there's a lot of people, including myself, that have been carried through some of the harder fights in the game. See stuff like Nero Fest when we had the Hassan challenge quest, and you know, it was pretty much like, yeah, you could try to use any of these other guys, or everybody has Medea and you can just use her to clap it up. It's really funny when they have stuff like that, when you have like actual quote-unquote difficult content, right? But then you have some like free-to-play servant that everybody's got that can just clap that up quick, fast, and in a hurry. But leave your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you guys think of Medea? Next up is going to be Assassins, and I think I have a couple of guys that I'm thinking I might want to do for that one. But if you personally have a character you would like to see, let me know in the comments down below. With all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. Late, guys.